Hello, hello. Going to start with a 30-minute sprint, and then my friend Nicole will be joining us for more sprints. So let's get after it. Everybody's sprint. Hi, Nicole. Welcome.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm like, everything's all over the place. What are you eating? Oh, Ruthless Creatures. How do you like it?
I literally just started it.
Okay.
I'm
Fair. I just started the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches because I think I'm going to DNF the X Hex again.
Wait, that's not the other one.
No, so the one I read on Saturday and part of Sunday was Witchful Thinking, and I finished that one. And then I started the X Hex on Sunday. I got to the 55% mark, and I just don't care. So
This is the second chance one, right?
yeah. And I use second chance loosely. Like that's what it's like labeled as the tropes, but I'm like, nothing about it is believable. There's no romance building. Like it can't decide if it wants to be plot or romance, you know? And it's marketed as a romance, but it's mostly plot stuff. And I don't mind that. It's just if you're going to the whole point of this was that she hexed him after a breakup. They were together for like a summer 9 years ago before the start of the book. In the start of the book, we see her like moping over him like the day of the breakup or like the next day. She and her cousin get drunk. They hex him. They think nothing happens, but like very clearly something happened. And then he comes back 9 years later to charge the ley lines in the town because his family founded the town. And one of the descendants is supposed to always come back to do that every so often. And it was his dad sent him. And because he was hexed, he charged the ley lines with the hex, I guess. And so now weird shit's happening around the town. I honestly would have rather seen. Oh, and the town is not openly aware of magic. So, like, she teaches history at the college, but she teaches like regular human history. But there's a whole branch of the college for like witches, ghouls, whatever. But like, she doesn't interact with them at all.
Interesting.
And so like it's such an interesting premise. And I low key, honestly, if it wasn't a romance, I would be having a good time. It's the fact that it's supposed to be romance and like it's not.
Feel that.
Just and if it's I know they're gonna try and cram all the romance in the last like 20-25%, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
no.
Hi, Andy.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad I'm not alone. Read 20 pages. How is that? I've haven't heard of Drop Dead Sisters. I'd like to know. How long do you want to sprint for real? Because I did that one as a shorter one because I knew you were popping on.
Yeah. Whatever you think. I think honestly this is going to be super helpful for me. I'm feeling so slumpy after finishing Wrath of an Exile, but I think that's what happens. Like
Yeah.
it's one of my big books, and now that it's over, I'm like, what is life?
Okay, let's do 45 minutes with 7-minute breaks. And then let's see here. Yeah, let's do that. 45 minutes with 7-minute breaks. I think that will be good. Also, because as fast as you read, you're gonna like get into like some parts where you're gonna want to like break and gush.
Okay.
What's happening?
Yeah. I am so curious already, which is so interesting that I'm already like, what's going on?
She's just so good at setting it up.
This is Mafia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Actually, I'm pulling it up. Let me look and see. Because one of the series, it's straight up Mafia, and the other one's like adjacent. Oh yeah, yeah. This one's like not overtly that in the beginning, but like you figure it out real fast.
Okay.
Yeah. That one was real good. I think out of that series, my favorite is Carnal Urges, which is book 2.
Okay, and these are interconnected?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You obviously have said on multiple occasions that you love the unhinged men in this series.
Mhm.
And Brittany on TikTok literally just said the other day that it was like one of her top mafia romances.
Mm.
And we're very similar with
Yeah.
top. So I'm like, okay,
I'm
okay.
looking right now at the other ones in the series, and I'm like, I don't remember anything about these. Oh, wait. Maybe book 4 was my favorite.
Okay.
They're kind of tied for very different reasons. Book 2 is my favorite example of I kidnapped her and now I'm in love. And
I
then book 4 is it's meant to be a marriage of alliance, if you will, but the bride is very young and her aunt takes her place.
I literally read a
So feisty.
I read a Jagger Cole book, Toxic Love,
Mm,
Tempest, one of my absolute favorite FMCs, same premise.
yeah. Oh, it's a mystery. Okay. I saw that it comes out on Friday, so I'm gonna have to put that on my TBR. I love a good mystery. But yeah, I loved the premise of it. There's a lot of like the way it's set up. I kept wondering, I'm like, is she gonna do like a second gen? Not even necessarily a second gen series, but like a spinoff, kind of like what were those ones I read this summer? Uh,
Mafias?
Luna Mason. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know how she did with like Cage, just like a spinoff from the first.
I have not read any Luna Mason.
Oh,
I know. And
I'm not judging you.
I know, literally will post about Luna Mason regularly. And I'm always like, every time I see one of these posts, I literally comment. Every time I see one of these posts, I say, I need to enter my Luna Mason era. Also, nobody comment on my broken nail. It's my third reason, and I don't want to talk about it.
No one was gonna bring it up until you did. So
Rebecca! I don't know who you are, but I do this to Rebecca all the time, and she
it's
didn't
not the
even
same. It's not the same reference. It's
It's
not.
not?
No,
Boo.
no.
Rebecca!
That's just how they say my name.
Okay. I didn't even see the nail.
My friend.
I said I don't want to talk about it, Andy.
You brought it up. Okay, yeah. So Luna Mason, Distance is the first book in the series,
Yep.
and I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It's one of those ones where it's like it's a weak start to the series, but you can see where things are going,
Okay.
and so you just kind of like write it out. I also really like Sienna's the FMC in that book, and she's one of those characters that like you love it when she shows up in the other books later.
Mm.
You know, that's what made me go back and read that book because I did not read that one. It was one of those another time where I unintentionally started with the second book in the series, not realizing it was the second book in the series. And I did like the second book.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have not. I've only read the first book and the other one. So the first series, I say the first one. This woman
Chicago.
has so many books, but from what we're talking about, Beneath the Mask is the first series. There's 4 books in that.
Who's Chicago Ruthless? Oh, Sadie Kincaid. That's a totally different author.
Yeah.
Uh,
I get them mixed up because the other thing too is I'm like, do you guys use the same cover artist? Because the way Kindle be like, you should read this. I'm like, I think I read it already. And then I'm like, oh no, I haven't.
I do think it's dumb that Kindle will recommend you books that you've already read. I'm like, you're my Kindle.
Yeah. I don't know if I can say this on the internet, but do you remember when in the Unhinged Book Club group chat we were talking about this was like right after I joined it, I think. And we were talking about I think you guys were talking about Den of Vipers. And I said, "Oh, I read a book, but it was a pew pew instead of a chop chop."
Oh yeah.
That's the second book in that series.
I've read 2 Pew
Detonate,
Pews.
yeah.
I've read 2 books and it wasn't one of them wasn't Detonate. So, if I had a nickel.
I'd only have 2 nickels, but it's so weird that it happened, right?
It happened twice, right? Yeah, yeah, and yeah, Den of Vipers.
I still haven't read that. I don't know that I ever will.
I don't blame you. I think for me, it is unnecessarily long. It is unhinged goodness. Like if you're just in it for a good, sloppy, messy, spicy, unhinged time, then like
654 pages
it is unnecessary.
on
Like,
Beyonce's internet?
I
Why?
I remember visibly, like in that book, I was like, why are we still going? Why is this still happening?
That's
So
how I felt about Give Me Peace. Do I have that behind me? I think it's behind my chair. This is the downside of putting this chair in front of this. Yeah, I can't get to it. But that when I did that blind date with a book from Probably Slide,
yes, probably
and I did the like dark white shoes or whatever, that book is like, and I'm like, why? For what? Exactly. I say all of that, and yeah, I read Emily Rath and Becca Mack. But the difference is I trust them. That's the difference.
I read a hockey book. I read a hockey book like not super recently, but relatively recently, where I was like, this book felt too long, and that's coming from someone who who read and loved the Playing for Keeps series.
Yeah.
So like,
that's the other thing though. It's like because I will still complain about what other ones being too long. I'm like, why are we still here?
yeah,
Like, why are we still here? And I will read those.
Yeah.
Fucking around with 2 books in one, and I didn't bat an eyelash. That's a lie, actually. That is a lie. I did.
I batted an eyelash at Pucking Around because that's Emily Rath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that felt like 2 different books.
It was.
Yeah. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what are we doing? What's going
Yeah.
on there? So
I kind of like that she did that though, because I don't know that I could have handled a cliffhanger
that's fair.
after the first 3 get settled, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
I also don't know that we all would have the love that we have for Mars if he had his own book.
Yeah. Did you read Pucking Sweet? You haven't read it yet.
I still need to. That one I did kind of go, ugh, the length of it. And it's not even that I don't want to read it.
You haven't been in a hockey mood.
I haven't been in a hocky mood.
That's such a strange that's such a strange sentence.
Like, am I okay?
Are you okay? I'm literally wearing I'm wearing a Your State.
Hey, look at you, Dallas Stars.
I'm
wearing my book ghosties.
This is actually the AHL league because I went to see them when in Austin with Brendan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Christmas. That's Rebecca and
weird.
Not being in a hockey mood is like that's almost like me saying I'm not in a hockey mood, which doesn't happen. So it's very strange.
And it's like it's very weird. It's very weird for me to not be in the mood. And honestly, I just haven't been in the mood for like sports romance as a whole. Which is like,
who is she?
Cringe, honestly. Because I was gonna try and do one of those 10 before the end posts, and I was like, yeah, but it's basically all of the sports romances that I've ignored for the last 3 months. Like, that's not a fun list.
What bizarro world are we in?
I know. It's like my brain is broken. And it's what's really annoying too is I want to read them.
Yeah.
Like that's the worst part. I want to read them. I'm just not. And it's like I tried with Pucking Sweet. My mistake with Pucking Sweet actually, and this is the thing. The problem with being a Taurus is that I have a brain of a fucking elephant, and I really wish I didn't. Because
have we talked about this before? You being a Taurus and me being an Aries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember everything, and unfortunately, I heard the audiobook for Pucking Sweet.
You did?
I did. Because the Houston Public Library, this is not me doxing myself, I live nowhere near Houston, had like, they ordered like 200 copies. of the audiobook for Libby.
Interesting.
So there was no hold on the first day, so I just grabbed it. And then I was in the middle of reading something else that I had to do. I think it was because I think that came out the same week as Erin Mackenzie's book. And so I was like trying to finish and like post for Erin Mackenzie stuff because I was like, you need this more than Emily Rath does. And so I was doing that. And then I was like, okay, I'm finishing up the playbook. Let me see what's going on here with Pucking Sweet. And I also was not in the mood to like read with my eyeballs. So I was like, let me listen to this audiobook. When I tell you I hated the male narrator immediately.
That's like how I felt with the freaking Behind the Net. I will never get over that.
When I tell you, this is the reason I tell you, I cannot listen to audiobooks of indie romances. I don't know what it is about the, like, I don't know what it is about narrators for indies. I can't do it. I don't know why.
I didn't hate Alive and Wells or Seeing Red.
I just don't even bother trying to.
Yeah.
Like the other thing too is like I'm at a point in my life where like I've grown past having an Audible credit. Like it's just not. That's not a part of my journey.
I canceled my Audible membership, but my mom and I, our Amazon accounts are linked. And because I have such an extensive library, she just listens to mine and then I use the credits.
That's real. Yeah, I just don't, because even the ones that are like occasionally they're a part of KU, so then it's just like free and on there. I still won't listen to them.
Interesting.
I won't.
What was I doing? I just heard that Quicksilver by Callie Hart is on audio. The audio dropped today, and everyone is saying that it's.
That makes sense because I think it technically came out today. Like the book came out today.
Yeah.
For Read Forever.
Me.
Does Forever publish him? That was Forever, right?
I have the freaking indie books.
Let's see. Callie Hart. I think Forever.
I have both.
Yeah, because they sent it to me and asked if I wanted it for my November picks, and I was like, oh no. Affectionately. It's just because I was like, why would I waste it on that when like I could just grab that from KU still? Same thing with Phantasma, because that was on the list too. And I was like, I have this on my Kindle right now.
I do want to read. Phantasma was on my October TBR. Nocticadia scared me off of spooky books for girls.
I don't think Phantasma was supposed to be spooky.
I don't think Nocticadia was supposed to be spooky, but
no, Nocticadia gives spooky vibes to me.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Like the cover alone, I was like,
that's where it's like you guys know Rebecca, and for Rebecca to say that she's not in a sports mood is strange for her. For me, I spent the majority of 2023 in fantasy romance, and so now this year it is very difficult for me to pick up fantasy romances, which is I put a bunch on my list for this month and
just haven't gone. Honestly though, lean into it. I was watching Eden's videos on TikTok when I was in the middle of my slump because she was also slumping very hard. And she was talking about how she is honestly the same way where like she read a ton of fantasy last year and she's basically read like no fantasy this year. And she's like, you would think like, what is wrong with me? Who am I?
Yep.
But she's like, sometimes it's just like that. And she read a bunch of romances through summer. And so she's just now getting back into reading fantasy and just like a little bit of lit fic and things like that, just to like bring it back in.
Yeah, I did read
this year. I love that. I would love to be back in my thriller era because that TBR is kind of long too.
One thing you will never catch me in is the thriller era. Peace and love. I am a big fat chicken, and so thriller and horror. No, thank you. No, thank you.
How do you feel about mysteries?
I don't know. I think I'm so impatient. I can't, which is also why, as you know, I fucking hate slow burn. I am so impatient. Like I just want everybody to be in love and kiss already.
Yeah. Well, is it that you want them to kiss already, or do you need them to like? Because like there's slow burn where they're in love the whole time.
That's true. But again, I need them to kiss already because
That's fair. That's fine. That's fine.
the
That's
angst.
like me reading like I was watching somebody's vlog the other day. They were reading Vicious by B.E. Schwab for the first time, and I read that book several years ago, and I loved it. And the whole time I was reading it, I was like, this whole book would have been solved on like page 30 if these boys would just smooch a little bit, and they would feel fine. And it's so fun for me to watch all these people now reading it for the first time saying the exact same thing, and I feel so validated. I love having that happen on books that aren't romances. Where I'm just like, if you guys would just, I'm like, now kiss, and you'll be fine. This is a, and you'll be fine. I'm like no, Andy. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I have not read any B.E. Schwab, Andy.
I don't know that you. Well, I take that back. You might like the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. The third one's a little long in the tooth, and people either love it or hate it.
I do. I feel like in the same realm of books that I read, the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy is always kind of like in those circles.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I haven't. It's the same thing with like Leigh Bardugo. Like I've only read the Six of Crows duology and Ninth House. Like that is all the Leigh Bardugo. For me, like Leigh Bardugo is right up my alley. So
I haven't read. No, I can't take that back. I've read some Leigh Bardugo. I have read the first. Did I finish the second book in Shadow and Bone? Or did I DNF that? I read the first one and I was like, she's not great. She's not great. And then I started the second one because like something happened towards the end of the first one, and I was like, if they follow this storyline, I could get into this. And then I got halfway through. I'm checking right now. Load,
have you read any Carissa Broadbent?
No. But I tried to start Crowns of Nyaxia, like whatever the first book in that series is.
And the Wings of Night.
Thank you. Oh, I did read Siege and Storm and I gave it a 4. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
But I stopped after that. I did not. I tried to start Ruin and Rising, and then I just didn't care.
Okay.
Anymore. I have been told I should read the Six of Crows duology, but
I think you would. I think it's right up your alley.
Okay.
It's
I have Ninth House on my shelf right now. That's actually a part of my.
I think you would enjoy Ninth House too. I was not a huge fan of Ninth House, but again, I'm a romance girly.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it would be exactly my shit, honestly. Because it kind of feels like.
But
oops, sorry.
Don't let me get off the Carissa Broadbent soapbox for a second. For those of you just joining us, my name is Nicole, and I'm a disciple of Carissa Broadbent. I am obsessed with Carissa Broadbent. I have an entire shelf dedicated to Carissa Broadbent.
I didn't think she had that many books out.
Like 15 books. What?
I didn't think she had that many books out.
Oh, she doesn't. But I have.
Oh God. Okay.
I have the indie paperbacks, the indie hardcovers. I have a German edition of Serpent and the Wings of Night, and then I'm obviously collecting them as they re-release with Bramble. Where should one start with Carissa Broadbent? That is an excellent question, and it truly depends on whether you're fantasy first or you're romance first. If you're romance first, I recommend starting with Serpent and the Wings of Night, and that is technically it's a duology in the Crowns of Nyaxia universe. So it's Serpent in the Wings of Night and Ashes in the Star-Cursed King. There is a novella that's optional in the middle. I say you should absolutely read the novella in the middle. It's two like related characters, but it's a really freaking good novella just in and of itself. If you're fantasy first,
it's not a duology.
The Serpent and the Wings of Night? Yes, it is.
There's a trilogy.
Nope. It's a duology.
Then what is Songbird in the Heart of Stone?
That is going to be another book that's still set in the Crowns of Nyaxia world.
Got it.
Yeah.
I was wondering because like every time I see it, because it keeps getting it because I have all of them on my TBR because I thought it was a trilogy, And every time I log into Storygraph, one of them pops up on my like, here's our what you should read from your TBR pile.
Yes.
And they all say, it says, Crowns of Nyaxia number 1, 2, or 3. And that's why I thought it was a trilogy. Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be more Crowns of Nyaxia books. There's also Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, which is technically in under the Crowns of Nyaxia umbrella, but it's a standalone. It was part of a romance series that a bunch of fantasy romance authors did. Now, if you're fantasy first, which is what I am going to recommend to Rebecca as well, even though of course I want you to read Serpent in the Wings of Night, I think you should start with Daughter of No Worlds, because if you're like Rebecca is very like political intrigue heavy, very like she's more drawn to the war and like the fighting aspect and the like figuring stuff out in a fantasy.
I love some logic.
Yes, than the romance. And Daughter of No Worlds.
Let's cover.
Daughter of No Worlds. Should I get them? Should I grab them?
Oh, I'm just gonna throw it up on the screen. Hold on.
We do a full. I could do a full.
Yeah, if you want to grab them.
Yeah, Daughter of No Worlds is. I mean, it is fan frickin' tastic. This is my Carissa Broadbent shelf. I should have just brought you guys over here. Really.
Here, let me close my blinds while you do that.
Have you? So this is Daughter of No Worlds. These are the indie covers. I don't know. I don't think these got picked up with Bramble. I think
that's a different book.
Oh, sorry. It's the Daughter of No Worlds.
I just saw on Goodreads. Yeah.
Sorry, the Daughter of No Worlds trilogy. So I don't think these got picked up with Bramble. I think only Crowns of Nyaxia did. But yeah, so the first book is it's the War of Lost Hearts trilogy is what it's called. And then the first book is Daughter of No Worlds. The second book is Mother of Death and Dawn.
The ratings on these are so high.
Children of Forgotten Gods and Mother of Death and Dawn. The ratings on these are so high for a reason.
Oh, wow. No, I'm just excited.
Yeah, no, these are, I mean,
these are so pretty.
Like, truth be told, I would read if Carissa Broadbent put out a book and all it was her just rewriting the IKEA catalog, I would read it. I love Carissa Broadbent.
I mean, how you really feel.
Also, fun fact, Carissa Broadbent is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio next month for the release.
Not far from you.
It's an hour from me for the release of Songbird and the Heart of Stone. And I'm going.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I'm still waiting to see if she's gonna, it's not her, it's Joseph Beth, which is an indie bookstore both in Cincinnati and in Lexington. I don't know if they're gonna let us bring other books. I do have one signed book, which is Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, that I found at the Ripped Bodice in Brooklyn, New York. But I want this freaking series signed, and I want my indie
copy signed. Yeah,
I want my indie.
You have to choose. If they say you can bring 2 books as long as you also buy one while you're here.
Oh, so I had to buy Songbird and the Heart of Stone for like my admission.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so we'll see what they say. But yes, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 recommend I recommend all
of them. Yeah.
I recommend all of Carissa Broadbent, but again, it depends on if you're fantasy first or if you're romance first. So if you're fantasy first, War of Lost Hearts trilogy. And if you're romance first, do The Serpent in the Wings of Night. It's called the Nightborn Duet. So The Serpent in the Wings of Night and Ashes in the Star Curse King and 6 Scorched Roses. Thank you for coming to the TED Talk.
I tried to read Serpent in the Wings of Night like a month or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Mostly because I was looking for something to try to pull me out of my slump. And so it was one of the books where I only got like a chapter or 2 into. And I was like, and I immediately said no. And not because obviously the content was bad or anything. It was just one of those moments where I was like, this deserves a better version of me than what I can give it right now. And
Yes,
so I
and
put it down.
you're not a vampire girly, correct?
Huh?
You're not a vampire girly?
I didn't think so, and then I read Bride, and then I read
Ah!
um that Haley Dennings book, the name's forgetting me, This Ravenous Fate. And so it's like I've never thought that I was.
I want to show you my German edition of Serpent and Wings of Night.
Oh, I remember you getting this. Yes, I love that. Oh my god. What is it with like Europe always gets the best?
What is that?
Tell me why my library doesn't have Daughter of No Worlds. Do they have her other books?
Can't you
They
request?
may not have this series, Andy, because Nicole was saying that this one is probably still indie, but Bramble picked up the Crowns of Nyaxia one, so that one's probably at the library.
Yeah, you can probably, if you want to just see if you like her writing, this is a standalone, Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. So it's like low commitment.
It's real. Andy, if you have Kindle Unlimited, all of her stuff is on there.
That's correct. Yes.
At least in the States. If you're outside of the States, I don't know. No, they don't. They don't have any of hers. You could request it.
That's
Mayhaps.
so cool that the library doesn't have.
I feel like, well, I shouldn't say that. I kind of hate that my library, my like local one that I won't say the name of because it's like physically very close to me, is like they will get a random book in a finished series because someone requested it, but they don't go back and look and see if, oh, wait, hold on. Daughter of No World audiobook is on my Libby.
There you go.
Why does the Harris County Public Library have unlimited copies of this book? And so does Houston.
Wait, why is that backwards?
That's crazy. Interesting that that's the only series that comes up when I search for Carissa Broadbent. And it's the audios for each of them. Interesting. Wait, what if I switch to Austin? I love how I swear I use the library options at like every library that's not near me. All of these libraries are 5 to 6 hours away from me.
Oh, you know what I need you to read?
Hmm?
Lights Out.
Yeah, I will. I will. Oh, fuck yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me just borrow it right now. I'm not gonna read it right now, but I'm gonna borrow it right now. When I kept checking, my local library just got a copy of it apparently. Because when I was looking, all of the bigger libraries that I am a part of have it, and they all are at like 20, 30-week wait for both the ebook and the audio.
Interesting.
But and Houston had the audio, so now I have the ebook and the audio. I don't know if I'm going to like the audio.
Is it not on KU?
No. Because
Daughter.
remember when it came out and I was like, hey,
Oh,
let me get it.
Serpent.
And then I was like, I'm not spending $8.49 on this book. And like, what if I hate it? Because everyone called it Diet Butcher and Blackbird.
Oh, Lights Out.
Yeah.
Duh. I totally didn't even process what we were talking about.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to like the audio despite that TikTok clip. I know. But
the audio is fantastic.
I downloaded it. I will try it. But I grabbed the ebook too, just in case.
Okay. Yeah.
But also because I know I'm going to want to highlight anyway.
That's fair.
You know? Because I did that with Butcher and Blackbird. I listened as I was annotating. Like, I have never...
You're welcome, Andy. I hope you love them.
Like, the whole time, just tabs, the whole time I was reading this. So, I know I'm going to do the same thing with that. I still haven't read Leather and Lark.
Literally, you still haven't read Leather and Lark.
Can you tell? I'm just like having... I've read so many books this year, but I haven't really read anything that I've like wanted to. You know what I mean? Like all my anticipated shit, it's like it's not. It comes around and then I just like don't want to.
Yeah, that's crazy. I will say I love Leather and Lark. I loved Leather and Lark. It
It's
was
not
not
as
as
good as the first one.
good as
Yeah.
Butcher and Blackbird. It's
I
just
think that was the other thing too, is that I wanted to give it a fair shot, and literally everybody in my feed was bitching about it, and so I was like, "Let me not."
it's great. You'll still like it.
No, I know, but I'm saying just seeing that as I'm scrolling through Instagram or I was scrolling through TikTok, people were like, "Oh, it's not as good," and that was like what everyone was saying. No one was saying it was bad, but I was like, "Oh, it's not as good. Oh, I'm annoyed. Oh, it's not as good. It's not," and I was like, McDonald's is great when you don't have a bitch in your ear telling you it's not good tasty. You know what I mean? So like, I was having one of those moments where I was like, let me wait until they're done and then go complain about something else that I don't care about,
Yeah.
and then you know what I mean?
Yeah. Lights Out is a very like other than the Unalivers piece, it's very reminiscent of Butcher and Blackbird in the sense that it's like it's dark and it's very obviously a dark romance.
It's comedy.
But it is hilarious.
Yeah.
And
The
the
only
audio,
reason I have hesitance for the audio, and it's you don't understand this because you haven't watched The Office, which is weird, but I don't know. Maybe a badge of honor for you. I'm not really sure. Maybe you're normal. um, but he sounds like Diet Jim Halpert, and I don't know how else to explain it other than that. And so I
which is
don't.
interesting. Have you never heard him before? That's a very popular audiobook narrator that I cannot remember the name
Well,
of.
but the thing is, if he's an indie audio narrator, then no, because I don't listen to them.
Lights Out is an indie?
No, but you get what I'm saying. If he's done mostly
Oh,
indie audiobooks.
potentially. It's
Because usually, yeah, Jacob Morgan, yeah, I haven't listened to Priest. He did the Amy award books, didn't listen to those. Rebecca Jenshak, she and I are not friends. Didn't listen to that.
why aren't you friends with Rebecca Jenshak?
I did not like the one we read.
Wildcat.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
second book of the series is my favorite.
Maybe I'll try again, but she did that man dirty in that one. And I was like, I don't like this. Yeah,
Really?
I don't recognize. I mean, I take that back. I recognize The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. I haven't read it. I wanted to, and then I just wasn't in the mood for Christmassy.
I take that back. I want you to
Mhm.
read Matching All the Way by Rebecca Jenshak. That's my favorite Rebecca Jenshak book.
Okay. That sounds like it's Christmas.
Yes, and it's very, very, very beautifully, accurately representation of women with ADHD.
Please hold. Tell me the title one more time.
Matching All the Way. Guys, we're yappers, and Rebecca clearly didn't put us on a timer. So,
No, it's because I had to reset the way this works, it's very annoying to me, is when you change the actual timer for the sprint, it cancels the break that you're in when
uh,
you save it, and you can't start on a break because I tried. So what
um,
I was going to say before I was, like, letting you do your Rebecca not your Rebecca Jenchak, your Carissa Broadbent rant, and by rant, I mean encouragement. Um, hello, welcome. Um, and then I was like, "Oh, when she's done with this, I will start a sprint." But actually what I was waiting for, because I had the same thought, is it's about to be and there it goes. I was waiting for the time to change so that we were on a round number to start because I'm weird like that.
oh, that's where the live says 109.
I don't care about that. I was looking at the actual timer on the top of my computer and it says 7:40, so
Andy, if you like hockey romance, you will enjoy that rec as well.
this?
No,
Oh,
down.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I
I
don't
think
think
it was
Andy does.
way.
I could be wrong. Andy, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, we're gonna sprint for real, and this time it's gonna be a long boy, so that way we can get some reading done. Okay, bye. See you guys later. Okay, I'll mute myself again in a second, but Andy, that is the wildest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm not trying to be disruptive, but I just want the record to state if you haven't read a hockey romance and you're going to start, please don't start with Matching All the Way. We will, on our next break, get you a better hockey romance to start with. That's all I'm going to say. Will you tell me anything?
Will I tell you anything? I mean, why?
Because I want to know.
But you're gonna read it.
But I want to know right now.
But you're gonna read it.
You're the worst.
I am not. I just want you to enjoy things.
I will still enjoy it.
What's your question? And I'll decide after I hear it.
So Cage just said he's a debt collector.
Okay.
So I'm assuming her fiance dipped out because he owed somebody money.
Shit, actually, hold on. Let me try to remember. It's been a hot minute since I read those.
Hmm.
I actually think it's something else. I could be mixing it up with a different hockey romance book. Or not hockey romance. A mafia romance book. Sorry, I read her comment while I was yeah. I think it's a yes and.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Oh, I love that. Okay, you haven't read one either. You know what? It's totally fair. I was only reacting like that because Andy, being the darling human being that she is, comments on literally every one of my videos. And I read so many of them, and like she will ask like the most like thoughtful questions, and that make me think that she's a hockey romance reader. So I was shocked that she wasn't. Less about like her not reading the genre because like to each their own, but I was just shocked that
My shock came from the genre, of course, because I believe that everyone should read hockey romance.
yeah, it's not for everybody though. It definitely like I think if I had tried to read hockey romance, like when did I start reading again? I shouldn't say start reading. I never truly stopped, but there was a point where I actively tried to find new genres for me because so growing up, YA sucked like during my time as a youth. And so as soon as I was allowed to, I just started taking my mom's James Patterson books and reading those because they were page turnery. It was a mystery, you know, whatever. And then I didn't read a ton in high school. I read, but the only reason I didn't read a ton is because I was reading so much for my like pre-AP and AP English that I was like, I don't want to read anymore because I'm forced to read, you know, what I was forced to read. And then in college, it was a similar thing where like I would read on like breaks and stuff, but I was doing so much reading that I wasn't recreationally reading. And then it probably took me in almost a year into working at the mall I worked at for like 8 years to go to that Barnes and Noble in the front of the mall and just like start picking up random shit. And that was like 2017. No, that's a lie. I started working there in 2010. So yeah, 2011, 2012. This would have been right around the time like that L. Kennedy was popping. And if I had started reading hockey romance then, I would never would have picked another one up again.
Maybe you would have liked it back then.
I'm telling you right now, I would not have. My reading taste in that way has not changed.
Hate off campus. I that is where we are very much best friends, but and we do love like super love a lot of the same books, and a lot
Yeah.
of the books that we both love we ride really really freaking hard for, but there
Mhm.
are some things that Rebecca and I
They're
are
so
just
different.
like polar freaking opposites on, and it's so funny.
That's so real.
That is so real.
Any Rex? Ooh, okay, so many. Actually, I would say the series Nicole is reading right now is, I think, a good entry to it. Cause like, how far are you in right now into that book, Nicole?
13%. And I will say, this is hilarious.
Yeah,
And
I liked it because it wasn't trying to be funny in the way that like Butcher and Blackbird is like obviously trying to be funny, but like it's funny. And so it kind of helped with like the dark that comes with it. So the Queens and Monsters series by JT Geisinger is where I would recommend that you start. What's the name of that first book? Because I haven't read it in like 18 months.
I have a different recommendation, obviously.
Okay.
I haven't read this series yet. And I have read a lot of mafia romance. My recommendation would be the Toxic Paradise series by Marie Maravilla, and it starts with Skeletons of Society. And I think it's like a mishmash of mafia and MC, and this one is specifically cartel, which is why I think it's a great starter for mafia romance as well, because it's not as dark as others. Some mafia romances, if you're not a dark romance reader, just as an FYI, some mafia romances get very dark.
Yeah. I will say for the ones that do, at least in the ones that I've read, I feel like, especially if something happens to the FMC, there's usually a solid, like, good for her moment, or like she's getting her lick back at some point, and so it's not so dark the whole time. Yeah, actually I was looking it up. It's Ruthless Creatures. The series is called Queens and Monsters, and it's by JT Geisinger. And Andy, that is so real. Hold on, let me pause this timer.
Yeah.
It's about to go off. It says 28 seconds. I'm like, that's not.
I'm gonna say Vancouver Storm. You can agree or disagree.
That's not a bad. That's actually a good.
And the reason I say Vancouver Storm is one, they're obviously I want to say Playing for Keeps, but I don't, because they're so long.
It's not. I would never tell someone to read that as their first hockey romance.
Yeah, no. I think that Vancouver Storm is a really good place to start. And book 2 in the Vancouver Storm series, by the way, it's by Stephanie Archer. Book 2 in the Vancouver Storm series is my number one book boyfriend.
Now, here's what I will say to you, Andy. Nicole is going to cringe real hard when I say all of this. I am a big fan of when you're trying out a new to you subgenre.
The Fake Out. It's the Fake Out.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
But also the Face Off by Chelsea Curto is also a really
good. Taken Hunter, honestly. Both of them were good.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is I am a big fan. Ow, fuck, Frankie. Ow, her nails are so long. I'm a big fan of reading whichever book in the Interconnected Standalone series stands out to you when you're trying a new subgenre for the first time. Like when they're not like when they're not predicated on like you need to read them in order. And most hockey romances are not like that at all.
100%. So in that case, I would say do The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer.
Like I would start with The Fake Out. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, same thing with Taken Hunter. Like I tell people to read Face Off by Taken Hunter and to skip the first one.
Well, you'd also need to skip the third one.
Sure. Yeah, I honestly, that's the second one's the only one I really recommend. For the first one's not bad. It's just like kind of boring a little bit, and like it has some like I don't like miscommunication, and I wouldn't say it fully has miscommunication. It has dumb communication. That's the better way of saying it. And then the third one's just bad. But yeah, Face Off by Taken Hunter, Face Off by Chelsea Curto.
Yeah, I think Face Off by Chelsea Curto, Rebecca and I both agree. Chelsea Curto did her big one with that book. Yeah. And Face Off by Chelsea Curto and The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer are similar in where like the banter is off the chain. The tropes are a little bit different. But actually, yeah, they're a little bit different, like slightly different. But
yeah, it's really just that the setup's different, but the vibe is very similar. So let's talk about these a little bit more deeply. So in The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer, we follow
Rory Miller
and what's her name?
Hazel Hartley.
Yeah, okay, and Hazel Hartley. Hazel owns a vet clinic and is trying to open a second one, I think, in the beginning of it.
No, that's Face Off by Tegan Hunter.
You said right? Never mind. I take it back. I got them mixed up. Okay. So is she part-time for her work as PT on the team?
Yes.
She's like
Well,
part-time. Well, or it's more just because like the schedule is so
yeah,
open.
flexible
She
that she.
does that, but she also does like yoga classes and stuff, like and teaches them. And as she's doing PT for the team, you have Rory Miller, who has been sprung for this girl since like the literal 10th grade. That's not a joke. Um, and her ex gets traded to their team. And through a series of things that you find out as you're reading, she and Rory decide to fake date to get her through that. It is so swoony. It is so good. That man has literally been in love with her since the 10th grade, and he's not afraid to let everybody know it. I also really appreciated how much she let him express that without it getting weird. And that's the other thing. It doesn't get like weird, sad puppy like, which I think is very important because sometimes in a setup like that, it can kind of get that way.
Yeah,
Very much liked that. And then for the fake out,
that was the fake
that
out.
sorry, you're right. Face off. God damn, why are all these titles the same? Some of them literally. So for face off,
Chelsea Curto first.
okay.
Or are you doing Tegan because you just did the fake out?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I'll say face off by Chelsea Curto is probably
So he hasn't
I
been
don't
down
know if it's
bad
the
for her for years, but essentially it's like they're
I
not
don't
really fake dating either. It's a reformed Playboy, but it's so the theme that all three of those books have in common is it's Black Cat Golden Retriever. And
yes.
it's not just Black Cat Golden Retriever, it's down bad, pathetically down bad Golden Retriever for his black
Slutty and pathetic.
slutty and pathetic. And
Slutty and
we
pathetic.
love
So we were just talking about the fake out?
that. Rory Miller is the fake out. So we were talking about that. And then
Yeah.
to face off.
Slutty and pathetic. Just in the best non-derogatory, of course. Of course. The gifts that he gets her, pathetic.
Down bad Golden Retrievers are my fave. Yeah.
Down bad. Hell yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the theme of my channel, if we're being quite honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, making her feel special while sleeping on her very uncomfortable full-size bed. Pathetic. Positively pathetic. Intentionally showing up in his game day fit because he knows what it does to her. Slutty. Slutty. So slutty. I love that man. He's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
You love Face Off by Tegan Hunter. One of your favorite things about that book is the caretaking.
Yeah. That's
Which,
my favorite across the board. That
yeah,
is why, actually, funny enough, that's why I like both face offs. There's caretaking in both of them.
that's right. Yeah, there
Um,
is.
in Face Off by Tegan Hunter, it's more of like on the daily kind of take care of. There is another thing that happens, but I like that it's not just one grand gesture kind of taking care of her. It's little shit of like, have you eaten today? You haven't eaten today. Here's some food. Maybe.
Okay, now that you're saying all this, I'm realizing how similar Face Off and Off Camera are. Book 4 in Love Gold.
Yeah. Oh no, I haven't read that one.
You haven't read it yet.
No,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say it actually kind of reminds me of uh Caught on Camera in that way too.
You're right. Chelsea loves it.
Because what was
Chelsea
she?
loves when a man is feeding a woman.
And yeah, double entendre for sure. But yeah,
You need to clip that.
yeah, does indeed.
Happy gift service.
Yeah, honestly, listen, I remember when Nicole and I first met, and she was just like, "You have to stop blowing up my TBR, but also don't stop."
Yes.
Because I'll do it every time. I will do it every time.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so that's to sum it up, those are, and I love Tegan Hunter, just so we're abundantly clear. I read the entire Carolina Comet series, which is
I need
7
to read those.
in a matter of like 3 days, but I personally I would say start with either The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer or Face Off by Chelsea Curto. And
Mhm.
then if you do fall in love, then move on
Yeah.
and potentially
I
pick up.
always tell people too when they're starting with hockey romance to read. I always tell them like give it 5. And I know that's a lot of books, so like you don't have to do it at once. But I tell people to give it 5 and then to do it from vastly different authors.
Oh, yes. Is Andy, do you know if Andy's a dark romance reader?
I don't know. Andy, tell
Andy,
me.
are you a dark romance reader at all? Because we do have a fucking fantastic dark hockey romance. Ah, okay. Never mind.
Oh, Stand and Defend.
Stand and defend!
Is that dark?
Hell yeah, it's dark.
It,
Rebecca, that is dark themes.
I guess.
That whole series.
There's some light DV in the beginning. But like outside of that. Okay, but you
Oh,
have Butcher and Blackbird. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You definitely
Richard Blackbird's dark rom-com.
it's dark rom-com, and Stand and Defend is not rom-com at all. I think if you are the kind of person who can read something that has slightly dark themes, knowing it's not going to be the entire story, because I would say that the like imminent danger feeling for the most part is only for the first 10%,
She's literally
if that. I mean, I know, but I'm saying there's something about like being in a home with a fuck ton of security that like brings down the like tension. In the same way, like you're when you read a mafia romance, and you know that like a rival mafia would like kidnap her in a moment, but the fact
yeah,
that she's
I
like
guess there's
in the
definitely
penthouse all day, it's like not. You're like I don't even think about it until oh shit, she got kidnapped at the 75% mark. Like she does in every single one of them. And why didn't I think of that?
bruh. It's like when I was reading, what was I just reading? Oh my gosh, what series?
Every mafia romance ever?
Alliance. When I was just reading the Alliance series, I was like, here
Oh
we
yeah.
go. She gonna get snatched again.
Yeah.
um no, what was I gonna say? I get there's definitely different levels of dark. I will say that. And there's obviously a difference between like dark themes in romance and like straight up dark romance books. I am a heavy dark romance reader. So I always just like caution, like, hey, this is dark. Like, even if it's just a little bit, like you
Yeah.
don't know, like obviously always, and I say this in literally every single one of my videos, please make sure you're checking your content warnings.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
important, but Stand and Defend is fucking epic. Like it
It's
is
so
so
good. You also, if you are listen, if you're ovulating, if you're just in your sweaty little mood, grab that book, sit on a beach towel, and have a good time.
And Rebecca has only read, just so we're clear, from that
That one.
like hockey series. She's only read that one book. I've read all of them and I read Coach Silly. No one, listen to me when I say this. I read over 200 books a year. No
But
one
you're at 315 according to your Goodreads.
at 315 right now today for 2024.
Nuts.
No one
Love that
writes
for you.
twice like Sloane St. James.
Listen.
No one
And
writes.
you know what's wild too? Because I am one of those people that I can read a book that is heavy tension, closed door, all the way to like knowing I'm getting into like straight erotica, like reading a Trilina Pucci, where like all we're doing is banging. Like I'm a full spectrum reader, okay? Full spectrum reader. The way it happens in Stand and Defend, number one, the first time, the way it happens the first time in particular, I was like, oh, I trust you. I trust you, Sloan. Because she's come out of this like terrible situation and she's questioning herself, like, what? Number one, why am I horny right now? This is dumb. Why am I feeling this way? And then he's like, respectfully, take back your power. Have a seat. And it's done so well, so well. and he's just so mindful of like when when you like are watching a show and they decide that they're like it's gonna be the consent episode, and you're just like, I could cringe at the way this conversation's going, even though it's fully necessary. I never had one of those moments in that book. Even like I remember at one point I was like, no, the other thing too is the scenes are long. So like if you aren't into something super smutty, don't read that.
Oh yeah, that's valid.
Don't. Because there's one point where I was like, oh, we're in a new chapter and we're still okay. I was having a good time, so I was like, oh, okay. But if it's not your thing, I would not recommend.
It's also, just so we're clear though, we don't like sing the praises of that book solely for the spice.
No, it's the way
It's a fantastic
that
book.
this woman perfectly married together 2 to 3 plot lines along with the smut, along with a believable budding romance out of that situation.
Oh,
And that book is less than 500 pages, which I know you guys are probably like, wait, what? But it's the amount of stuff that goes into it. You're like, if someone told me that, oh yeah, this book is 500 pages, I'd be like, okay.
it's not out on audio yet. The moment it's out on audio,
I'm
I
looking. It's 481 pages. It did not feel like it though. So here's the other thing. I read kind of fast. I say that because there are times where like I will like be zooming and Nicole's like, we'll be reading at the same time. And she's like, how are you ahead of me right now? And then there are other times where it's like I'm that kid, that meme where it's like, have you ever when you when you
when you
and it's like that's me sometimes. I read this book. Let me see. Okay, finished on February 13th. I started it on the 12th. Yeah, I remember reading like 80% of it in one day.
I'm pretty sure I read that whole thing in one day.
I think you did.
Let me go check.
I tapped out because I think I had work the next day and I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and I was
ooh,
like,
ooh.
no sleep, club, another bus.
Bus. That's fair. That's totally fair. That one is what I give people when
One
they
day.
have made their way through all of the like
Same.
Bookstagram popular hockey romances,
Yeah.
and they tell me that they like specific things about someone. Like that's like my like overly specific book recommendation for hockey romance. When someone tells me certain things that they've liked in other ones, it's like I go, read this. Like here you go.
Yeah, I like unhinged male main characters are like my favorite thing. So I
Mhm.
also really like the Pucking Wrong series, which Rebecca is not a huge fan of.
I only read the one.
Wrong number.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I think it gave me bully tones is the wrong.
No, yeah, because I wouldn't have read that.
No, but there was something about because I will read mafia books that have some of the same unhinged moments.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Great side by side. Pucking Wrong Number and Dom.
Okay.
Follow me here. Hear me out. Both of them master manipulate the FMC's life to the point where she's just like trapped with him.
Okay.
With Dom, when that happened, I was like, you're gonna be mad for all of 20 minutes, and then baby girl, you're gonna have the time of your life. And
No
Pucking Wrong Number,
way.
huh?
No. With Dom,
Yeah.
I strongly disagree.
No, I was mad as it was happening.
I know, but Dom like never made her feel like he actually like the way that Dom did it was all feelings. Like he pulled her in with feelings.
He did,
Whereas Link
but
actually he wasn't using her. Dom was using her.
Yeah, he was, but I don't. Mm,
Dom was using her.
I'm not
Did
disagreeing
he
with that. I
develop
just think.
feelings? Yes. But the
Well,
whole
he had feelings fairly early.
purpose of him approaching Val was to get into the alliance.
No, 100%.
Him
100%.
never
I'm
used.
just saying. I'm saying though, he had feelings very early.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying.
But as the reader, when you can see all of it happening, and
Mm,
I've read it twice,
mm,
because I could see all of it happening, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be mad for like 15 minutes, and then I don't have time in my life." With
no.
Puppy Wrong Number, I was like, "He might eat her by the end of this," and not in the fun way. Like Homegirl's trying to
Hate
be
you, I'm
chopped into
hanging
pieces by
up.
the end of this. What?
I said I hate you. I'm hanging up. First of all, I love Lincoln Daniels. How dare you?
I'm not saying you're wrong for that. I'm just saying I don't know what
This
kind
is
of.
a real life example of how we feel passionately about some things, and then we're polar opposites
Listen,
on others.
he had her fucking handcuffed, and not in a fun way,
She was trying to leave him.
as she should have.
Oh, he just wanted to take care of her.
This is the other thing. He's a fucking honky player. He's not a mafia don.
Don't
He's
want to.
not. You know what I mean?
I don't want to hear it.
Not the head of a motorcycle gang.
I love Circle of Trust.
What?
Yeah. See, if you read the rest of the series, you would get that reference.
I might, because I was intrigued by the second one.
Ari.
Yeah, that's the one where he sees the girl he hooked up with on a billboard, right? While
It's
they're
not
like at an away game, and then he like flies
that's
back
like
across the country.
childhood trauma bonded.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they were.
I think that's what stopped me from reading that actually.
It's really rough. It's rough.
Mostly because I just didn't. I don't know. I'm like, can I trust CR Jane after what she did to me in Fucking Wrong Number? I don't know.
I think, yeah. I mean, it's a little.
Fair.
Well, they're crazy. Like they're actually crazy.
They are. I think I just like specific things in my unhinged men, and that was
Amy,
not.
how dare you? I hope your speakers aren't very loud because I'm literally screaming at people.
They're a little loud, but it's fine.
I'm also just a loud human. So
You are. You're a screamer. I didn't even mean that one.
Oh gosh, we can't do this, Rebecca. We've been on here for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I've read. Well, I've been on here for 2 hours, and I've read for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I'm about to start the timer again.
Yeah, it's also 10 p.m. here.
Yeah, I was gonna say this last one could be the last sprint. Yeah,
Yeah, because you're still doing another one later this week.
Thursday. Halloween.
Halloweeny.
Yeah, because that'll put me at like right before 10 p.m. and I need to go to bed too. So
Okay, perf.
Cool. Resume. Let the break finish out because it was at like 30 seconds.
That's why you paused it.
Yeah, well, because it was a like 5-minute break or something, even though I thought I updated it to be a like 7 or 8 minutes in between, but apparently I didn't. So it's fine. Oh, I like low-key don't want to read anymore, but I need to.
Yeah, my head kind of hurts, and I definitely need to read.
Yeah, I need to read. It's mostly because I don't want to end the month on 13 books read. I would like to hit 14, so I have to finish this, or I have to get halfway through this tonight so that I could finish it tomorrow and then start another book tomorrow to finish on Halloween.
I think I'm at.
I don't want to hear it.
24? Shh, it's time to read.
That's like my January reading number. That's what I need. I need to get fucking cold here. It's not cold here. It's 85 degrees still every day.
First of all,
It's gonna be November on Friday.
It gets cold in Texas.
Huh?
I says I don't really feel like it gets cold in Texas.
Girl, February here?
36 for the month. Andy, we're soul
Good for
sisters.
you. I need to go back into like my no TV era. That's my problem. I've been watching a lot of sports. Okay, I'm muting now.
Okay, same. That thing gives me a every time.
I knew it was coming, and so like I took my headphones off a little while ago, also because my head kind of hurts, and they're putting pressure on the side of my head. But also because I needed to film a vlog clip because I've been really bad about updating that, and I was like, this needs to happen. Funnily enough, I was filming a time lapse of me reading, and I got an email, and the way I had the full body reaction to this email, I can't wait to watch it back in the editing footage to see if I can use it at all because I did everything but scream.
What was the email?
It was a NetGalley approval for Sarah Adams' Beg, Borrow, or Steal,
Nice.
which I'm very much looking forward to and did not think I would get approved for this at all. At all.
It's
So I'm
amazing.
very excited.
Did I tell you I got approved for Victoria Wilder's second book?
No, that's exciting.
Yeah, very,
Hell
very good.
Scorpio rising, I should start doing that. I'm very good when I'm in other people's sprints of paying attention to what page I start on. I'm not good at doing that in my own sprints. Because I was like looking and I was like, I don't know where I started.
I was at 13% and now I'm at 27%.
You know what? I did start this book at the beginning of sprints tonight and I'm 35% in. So at least I know that. You know?
Yeah. I also started this when I jumped on.
Yeah, I like doing that. That does help me. At least when I'm hosting. It's like I like to start a book in the beginning of sprints.
Yeah.
Because I don't check the page count half the time. But 110 pages in through tonight, not bad. Because these chapters are like, I feel like they're not super long, but they kind of are.
Dude, Wrath of an Exile, the chapters were so long.
That was the Monty J book you just read, yeah?
Yeah, I was like, were the chapters in the Hollow Boys books this long? And I just like it went over my head, but they were like, some of them were like 25 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, which I mean, I probably finished them in 20, but that's still
a lot. I'm looking at the page count on these, and it's like they're not crazy. I just think I don't know if it's like the writing style is why I'm like going through it slower, but I'm listening to the audio at 2 times speed. So like that's I don't know. Maybe the writing. I'm enjoying the writing a lot. I think I'm gonna recommend this for people who want who either don't want to read TJ Klune, but they want that experience, or people who have liked it.
Is that the Legends and Lattes author?
No, he wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea. Because this definitely has that found family aspect. And in this world, witches are not supposed to be like known. Like it can be dangerous for them. I don't know what would happen to them, but something would happen. Oh, good night. Thanks for being here. So they're all very like isolated, but I've highlighted so many things already just from like there are very like sweet things that are happening. Like so for example, let me scroll back. So the witch that they've hired to teach the girls how to like handle their magic is she had a YouTube channel where that was very like witch core, but like no one knew she was actually a witch. Except the people who hired her, like one of the guys like figured out that she was. And so one of the other guys that's a caretaker there is asking, he's basically like, hey, like why'd you do this? And she like goes on about how like isolating and lonely it is to be a witch because they can't really be around each other. And she goes, it probably sounds silly. And he's like, no, it doesn't. It sounds like you've been alone for a long time. And she goes, oh, I'm used to that. That's just the way it is. And he's like, not here. It's not. And there's just been like lots of little moments like that where I'm like, oh. It's gonna be like this whole time. I can already tell.
Andy, what book did you not love as much as other people did?
I think this one. Very
The,
Society
the
of Regular Witches.
oh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually tried to start this a while back, which is the story of all the books I've been reading this week. And I didn't like the tone of the opening scene the first time I read it, or maybe I just like wasn't in the mood for it. This is one of those stories where I'm like, man, if you had started out with us meeting the kids chapter 1, I would have been gripped immediately. But we don't meet them until like I think 3 or 4 chapters in. But I like them. And this is great.
Do you follow the girl that does Novella November on Book Talk?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
I honestly don't follow that many people on Book Talk.
Really?
I shouldn't say that. Book Talk doesn't show me a lot of people I follow on Book Talk. I feel like I say the same 10 people over and over again.
Interesting.
And then half the time I go through and I'm like, why was I following this person? And then I go, oh, it's for this one video. And then I unfollow them. Because it's like, just like there's a lot of the stuff that they're talking about. I'm like, I'm not interested in this.
Huh.
I think it's interesting how like people complain that Bookstagram is an echo chamber, but I feel the same way about Book Talk. And I feel like on Bookstagram, I feel like it's very easy for me to like weed out who's what. And I think it's because Instagram used to be photo first. And because it lets you put whatever photo you want over your reel for your grid, that I can kind of look through someone's grid in like 3 seconds and know whether or not I'm going to like their page.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because I was just talking to 2 of my friends on TikTok like about not really having a niche because I don't have a niche. Like
Yeah.
I read a lot of dark romance. I do. I can admit that. But I also read a lot of hockey romance and sports romance. So like my page is all over the place.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that hurts me or helps me at the end of the day, but I feel like there's one recurring theme that I feel like bigger book talkers and even smaller creators will always say is like, you need to be posting for you and not necessarily like what other people might want to see. And that's kind of like what I go back to at the end of the day, because here's the thing, like I can't force myself to read something I'm not in the mood to read. So even if I wanted to just be a strictly dark romance girly, like there's no possible way. I would need a hockey romance at some point. I would need a cowboy
else,
yeah. But I do feel like I also like with the little like I follow obviously some bigger creators that follow me back, and in their little circle, I feel like it's very similar.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Mary Life is probably one of the best examples that I have. Like I originally followed her because of her Arena Kent, and she is what got me to read Legacy of Gods. But she also reads Elsie Silver. She also reads Katharina Mara. You know what I mean? And like she's still big and she still has a big audience and gets a crap ton of views and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so honestly, most of it's personality.
Yeah.
Me. And that I think part of it's that it's like when I don't feel that when I'm reading, like I'm like watching, I'm like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
I need some. Be excited to be here.
Yeah, that's fair. I saw one girl today. She was like, she was basically just posting like, just basically giving tips on like how not even tips. She was just explaining like how she plans out her content. And I was like, girl, I wish never in my life have I ever wanted to be Taipei until I saw her like just like really be able to nail everything out and like figure out what she wants and do it on this. I'm like, girl, we are lucky if I get a book quote up because I have to go search for one.
I was on there's a really popular booktuber here. I like jokingly call her the OG booktuber even though she's not, but it's because she's one of the few ones who still makes videos, and she, I feel like, reinvents herself every year, but it's still so authentically her that like you don't feel like she's changed. But then you go back and watch old stuff and you're like, whoa, she's changed a lot. And it's Kayla from Books and Lala. And I was on one of her channel member live streams the other day, and she was like, oh yeah, someone recommended, they're like, oh, I think you're gonna like this book. She goes, yeah, I'm gonna read that in March 2025. I had like this whole video plan because she literally has the next like 6 months planned. Now, to be fair, she quit her job like last year.
Mm.
I think it's been about a year that she stopped working there. She still will like do freelance stuff for them sometimes because she did a lot of like their social media and like marketing stuff. And so she'll sometimes go back and like do things when they have like big campaigns going on. But for the most part, she is like a booktuber. Like that's her job.
That's
And so
cool.
it's like it makes sense. But she was like this always. Like this is not like a I have time now and this is a thing. Like no. She's been doing this forever. And I'm
That's
just like, I wish. I feel good that like I'm already thinking about like all of the 2025 arcs I've requested. I'm going to read like 8 of them in November. And I feel good about that. But like I have nothing planned. I don't have theme vlogs planned for the next 4 months.
yeah, the only thing I actively plan are my biggest releases. Like
Yeah.
everything else, because my mood shifts with the wind.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's part of me is like, oh well, if I get to a point where it's like I'm a little early. So like I've been thinking about that where I'm like, ooh, what do I want November to look like? Because I'm filming a vlog right now that will not go up this week. It will go up the week after because this weekend's the first weekend in November, which means I will do October wrap up and November TBR either in one video or I might do them in two. I haven't decided yet. But I before was not using those as a buffer week, and I need to of like already having the next one like in progress. And so like I'm doing that now, and I'm like, there are girls right now with 3 videos ready to go for the next 3 weeks that are just like uploaded under their YouTube already, like ready to go live. And I just like wish it could be me. Although it might be. I have a 4-day weekend scheduled out for when we were supposed to do that trip that never materialized. And I kept the days off.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have been stressing right now
Yeah.
if that was a real thing. I
Mhm.
would have been
I'm
probably
kind of glad it didn't happen, if I'm being very honest. Mostly because I know it would never have been the reading retreat I wanted it to be. And so I'm like thinking through and planning like what are those 4 days actually going to look like for me? I think I'm going to finally do an actual 24-hour
readathon.
reading. Yeah, like and I'm going to vlog it and like actually do like a full 24 hours where like I don't go to sleep that night.
That's so fun.
Because it's like because I took off Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So it's like if I do it on Friday, I have Saturday and Sunday to recover, you know?
Yeah.
Either that or I will do it over 2 days and sleep that night, and I'll just do it Friday, Saturday.
Mm.
We'll see how I feel when it comes around, you know what I mean?
Rip to your sleep schedule.
Yeah, because the other thing too, though, is I have Frankie to think about, and I don't want to like fuck her up too much
That's valid.
because she will revolt and then have me up at 4 a.m. the next couple of days, like ready to go. The day has started. I'm like, no. So I don't know, but I'm ready for bed now. So
Yeah.
we gotta go. Thank you for being here.
What
I'll
time
be
is
back on
it?
Thursday at the same bat time, same bat place.
10.
It's 10 almost.
Okay. Thank you for
So
having me.
thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Hopefully it was a good time.
It was.
Oh, you were so welcome. I want to know when you eventually read a hockey romance. Slide into my DMs, please. I think I put Nicole's stuff in the description box on this video.
I was literally about to say you could throw us in a group chat.
I did. I put Nicole's TikTok and Instagram in the description box on this video and on the live that she was on Saturday too. So if you're watching this and going back, go follow her. All her things are down there in the underneath the box. And we'll see you all later. It's time for us to go to bed.
Nighty night.
Bye.